All right, this is our very first video vlog, and we're here tonight in Madison, Ohio with the Wheel Night, which is the first Saturday in August. Today is August 4th, and we're looking for some of our classmates. The fellow sitting right here, let's see, oh, there's my finger, right here, that would be Frank Gorsuch from the high school class of 71, same as me. And Frank and I just had dinner together, and we had Mexican over at Compadres. You will remember it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and Frank liked it, I liked it.
Yeah, it's above average Mexican.
Really, yeah. And he's probably been to more Mexican places than I have. So Frank recommends Compadres in Madison. It used to be the Flying Burrito. You may remember from our, what was that, 30th reunion, Frank? Was that? 30th reunion was at Flying Burrito. And so we had dinner over there. And now I'm over here doing my very first vlog with my friend Frank. Frank is one of the guys that I've stayed in touch with most often. And we mostly by text or email, but we still stay in touch. There's a few others that I stay in touch with. But Frank, tell us, now you passed up an Indians game tonight to come here.
I went to the first few of them, and they were okay, but they were over in Geneva at the winery over there, right down there on the lake, and I think mostly they serve swell wine. So after a couple, 3 years, I didn't want to go there anymore.
Right.
And then it moved over here, and I didn't even know about it for 3 or 4 years. And then there was a few times, well, after that, I couldn't even get up here because I had kids and all kinds of things that scheduled during this time. And we came up last year, and we really just had a good time.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a good time here.
Come up again this year. And
yeah, I think the people out there would like it. You can come here. There's no charge to get in. There's no fees. You know, you're not paying to get in a real fancy place. But Max, the owner, makes it available to us just for the price of food and drink, and that works for him, and it works for us. And so it's working good. So I'm the same way with Frank. I only made a few of the wine nights. I prefer this atmosphere. And everybody's outside right now. I went and grabbed Frank and brought him inside to the wagon wheel so I could talk with him and with you out there. And so Frank, who from our class do you hope shows up tonight? Maybe somebody that you haven't seen for a long time. Is there someone off the top of your head that you say, geez, I'd like to see that person? Anybody? I mean, the chances of them showing up are not that great, but someone you haven't seen in a long time? Not so much? You're at a loss.
Let me think. I still hang out with the same group that I hung out with in school, and people that I haven't seen for a long time that I know, Doug Ungers. I haven't seen Doug in a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd love to see him.
Well, he was here last year.
I didn't catch him last year.
Oh, okay. He was here.
I didn't catch him last year.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Doug Ungers.
Yeah, he posted something on Facebook. I don't know if that implies that he's at home or what, but I would expect he might be here tonight. I don't know that for a fact.
Well, I hope he does.
Yeah, okay, so Doug Ungers. I'd like to see Andy Segan. Somebody that
Is he still around?
I have no idea. He's one of the people that I spent a lot of time trying to locate for our 30th reunion when I got involved in this, and just never got a lead on him or anything. And it's just somebody I'd like to see. Just somebody I'd like to see.
I heard that. It seems to me it's in my head that Andy isn't around anymore.
Oh, okay. I don't know that. That's the first I've heard.
Well, you know what? We're lucky buckaroos, man. We're sitting here today. We can see each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I guess I'm happy about doing that.
Yep.
But it just is, when you think about the whole time that it's been, some people say it's been very short. Man, I don't agree with that at all. I think all of the things that I've done in my life, I'm happy. I guess I wouldn't have done some of them, and I wouldn't be who I was if I hadn't spent my first 18 years in Madison.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of things that went on there that shaped me what I am today, and I guess it served me pretty well. I've been a good buckaroo, lucky buckaroo too.
Would you consider moving back to Madison if the situation was right? I mean, did Madison leave a good mark on you, and would you come back if things fell into place?
No, because I don't like the winters right along the lake.
Along the lake, yeah, we do get a lot of the...
Summer along the lake's all right, but winters along the lake, I don't...
Yes.
That's a little too cold for me, man.
Frank,
hey, man, it gets too cold in Youngstown, baby.
Yeah. Frank, give the people an idea of where you live, so... Tell them where you live.
Oh, I live in the north side of Youngstown, Ohio, which is about 60 miles south of the lake here. And it's an easy trip up, though, Route 11 and then Route 90, easy trip up. I just only come up pretty much in the summertime.
And we know
maybe a couple of times to see the Kotars and a few others, and the Buckies once in a while. But most of the time it's come up in the summer. I'll stay in Youngstown in the winter.
Yeah. And Wena Ogerchuk I told you, just recently moved to Boardman.
Yeah.
So
Boardman was a home of Bernie Kosar, who used to play for the Browns.
I didn't know that.
Anybody remembers?
I did not know. I remember Bernie.
Yeah. Bernie Kosar was the high school quarterback at the Boardman.
Well, I did not realize that. I actually saw Bernie's last game with the Browns. I was at that game.
Oh, really?
I haven't been to very many games, but I was at that one.
Wow, that was a milestone.
It was. That was Bernie was all right.
Yeah.
Bernie was all right. So do you like that area then? I mean,
what?
You like the area where you live?
Well, here's the deal. We don't get flooded out. And the 35 years I've lived there with my wife, we've only had one tornado.
Yeah.
We don't have a hurricane.
Right.
We had one slight earthquake on New Year's Day a couple years ago due to injecting well issues that were close by.
Yes.
And we get a lot of cloudy days, but it's a relatively risk-free place to live.
Right.
When it comes to the weather.
Yes.
And sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's pretty hot, but the other thing is we don't have traffic jams, man.
That's true.
We just don't. We've got 500,000 people in a tri-city area, and we just don't have traffic jams. We've got good freeways. Hey, man, that adds a quality of life in my book all the way around.
It does. I know people have come back here from California mostly because of the traffic. The traffic was just unbelievable, and they got so sick of it.
Every time I go to the East Coast, and I got a lot of Navy friends, every time I go to the East Coast, every time it's just terrible. The traffic, I couldn't live with that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And so, hey, Youngstown's pretty good. If I want to go somewhere else, I can get on a plane and go.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. And my favorite place goes New Orleans. So.
Yeah. We were just talking about that at dinner. So, yep.
And the Outer Banks. I go to the Outer Banks too.
Hey, Frank. Now this will be like a wild suggestion, but do you want to show the viewers your new tattoo?
What's that?
Do you want to show the viewers your new tattoo?
I don't know.
I guess the short answer to that would be no.
Yeah, probably not.
Frank's kind of shy. I don't have any tattoos, or I would show you. I probably believe. Here we go, folks. Okay, you got to get it there for the camera.
Where's the?
There it is.
There you go.
Can you kind of explain that?
Well, it says NOLA. I don't know if you can see it. No, N-O-L-A.
NOLA.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Orleans, Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yep. Louisiana, is that how it's actually pronounced?
Yeah.
Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Is that how they pronounce it?
Louisiana, the way my mom's family's from there.
Okay, and that's actually how it's pronounced?
That's the way they pronounce it.
Okay. Is it?
I'm not sure what's the right way.
I have no idea either. I thought it was Louisiana.
Well, my son lives there in New Orleans, and we go every year, and we go to a music festival.
Okay.
And it's called the French Quarter Fest. And it's 20 stages all over the French Quarter with live music of 20 different genres. And the music's far enough apart in the French Quarter that the live stages don't bump in, the music doesn't bump into each other. And you just walk around there and, you know, you can be a little bit drunk or you can be sober, it doesn't matter. And you go listen to free music and then at night you can go get some incredible food in during the daytime too. And there's dancing in the street, and it's just a wonderful time. And we always go in April, so you're getting away from Northeast Ohio cold, and you go down there, and the flowers are blooming, and it's 80 degrees, and it feels pretty good.
Is there any? Do you see any nudity down there? I know there.
No.
Okay, you don't see that?
I haven't.
Okay, I mean, don't we see that on TV and stuff all the time? I mean,
I haven't seen any.
Okay, did you look hard? I mean, did you really look? Not really.
Well,
you're not allowed to look, right?
There's a lot of people that run around nude that shouldn't be.
Oh,
doing that, you know?
no. So there is nudity. So there is nudity.
I don't look for them.
Okay, you don't look for them, but it exists.
I guess, but
okay.
But that's the question. You know, if the tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it.
So if someone's nude and you don't look,
yeah,
they might as well be.
Nobody's going to see it. I guess it doesn't matter.
And plus, Jan will be seeing this video.
Yeah.
So, she wouldn't miss it. So, what would? Is there a topic you'd like to discuss that for our former classmates? Something you'd like to talk about to our classmates? Anything you can think of off the top of your head? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
Well, you know what? Well, I guess there's something that I don't want to talk about, and that's politics.
Okay. Because
it's driving all of the headlines every day are driving me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't believe much of what I read in the newspaper. And I think it's kind of crazy that we have a lot of politicians that like to take your eye off the ball of what's going on. Because I was a retired financial advisor, I'm a retired financial advisor. These guys that are going into all of these issues besides the economy, trying to minimize that. That doesn't set well with me, and so I'm not going to say much more about that.
Okay. So we won't talk about politics.
One thing is that's made me feel pretty good over the last 6 or 8 years is we were a member of the church for a long time, and the church we were members of started another younger person's church, and both of my kids had not gone. They had kind of dropped out of going to church. And they started back up at this new church. And we started supporting them on that. And we've been really kind of pretty excited about seeing my daughter and my granddaughter bringing up my grandson and my great-granddaughter with some sort of moral center. I'm not saying I'm not pushing a religion, this religion or that religion. I believe in God, I'm a Christian. But the regular exposure to having a moral center and knowing what's doing what's right, we're trying to support our grandkids to do that.
Now this, I'll call it a spin-off church. Is this spin-off church the same kind of church as you belong to?
Well, it's in part of the Methodist denomination, but the format of the worship service and the pastor, the guy who's a serving paid pastor, he never went to Bible seminary. He's just a very gifted young guy.
I see.
And he and his wife are just really good young people.
Okay.
And they've rubbed off well on my kids and my grandkids.
Okay.
And you know what? Yeah, I will say one other thing. And Dave Mchinga said this to me. He said when I became my first great-grandfather, I'm a great-grandfather. Okay, when my first great grandbaby was born, Dave Machinga said to me, "I must be one of the only great grandfathers in the whole state of Ohio that still has all his hair."
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
And that was. I got 3 great grandkids now. So there you go.
Yeah, I like to brag that I'm housebroken. I like to brag that I'm housebroken.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our things.
Okay.
So let's reminisce a little bit. Let's reminisce. Let's go back to high school. What are your fondest memories of Madison High School? What comes to your mind first?
All those things we did in band, all those football games we get in the bus and go and the older guys that try to nuzzle up to the younger girls, you know, in the band bus and that kind of stuff. All that stuff, that was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of that. And
so all your band experiences, basically, that was the most important part of high school for you.
What's that?
All your band experience.
Well, I think so. I mean, and I still hang. You know, I mean, there's Dave Machinga and Dave Hamill, Tripper Hamill.
Yep.
And Dale Rumberger, we see him fairly often.
Okay.
And we were all in the band together.
Yeah.
We were, you know, and we still have some pretty close relationships.
It's funny you should mention that as the most important part of your high school.
Well, that's what it was.
I would say my biggest regret is not having been in the band. I would always say that. I'm not saying that because you brought this up. If anybody ever asked me what's your biggest regret about high school, I would say not being in the band.
Well,
I didn't want to do it at the time, but I wish I had.
You know, it was fun going in. And that senior year, we won a lot of competitions.
Did you?
We went to 3 or 4 different contests, and we were hands down the best band there.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we once in a while we talk about it still, you know.
And you played.
Well, I played in the concert band. I played trombone.
That's right.
And then in the marching band, I did the bass drum.
Bass drum. That's what I remember. Yeah. Yep. You can still see you banging that thing.
And I couldn't read a lick of drum music. I just knew how to keep a very solid rhythm.
Okay.
And I'd had my own, and Mr. Serra said, "Go for it."
Now
He said, "Just do it."
What musicians? What type of music do you enjoy the most, and what type of musician do you admire the most?
I'm going to put a plug in a little bit for a radio station I'm a member of.
There we go. Let's do that.
In Akron, called 91.3 The Summit.
Okay.
And it simulcast broadcasts in Youngstown. And they're owned by the Akron School Board, but they are membership driven by people like me who pay a membership, and they are public radio. And they play the most diverse amount of music I have ever heard in my life, and I really like them. And I've been they started in 7 years ago, just a few hours a day simulcasting using a local high school broadcaster, and I heard them. My son had them on the radio. He had heard something. I heard them. 3 days later, they were having a membership drive, and I became the first member from Youngstown to be in that Akron station. Now there's hundreds. Okay. But I was the first. And they play just a very, very wide range of music, new, all over the last 5 decades. And they just recently launched a channel called 330, which is all the local bands that have cut music in the 330 area code.
Okay.
And it really, really cool.
Now, is that standard radio? Is that actual?
Oh, yeah, it's on FM. 91.3 and 90.7 in Youngstown.
Say that again, 91.3.
91.3 in the Akron-Canton area.
Okay.
And it's not a strong signal from there.
Okay.
The signal from Youngstown is far stronger at 90.7.
Okay.
But the studios are in Akron.
Now,
what they do is they play a wide range of music from a little bit of country pop to older songs. The other day, I know all the disc jockeys, and I was driving around and I heard Strange Brew.
Ah.
Okay, and I stopped and I emailed Brad and I said, Brad, I said, Strange Brew? I said, I always liked it, but my gosh. And he came back to me, he says, you got to respect the classics.
That's true.
And then a couple days ago, he did Magic Bus.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
Great song.
And I emailed him and said, Magic Bus, Dad, you caught me, Brad. I was sitting out on my deck, you know?
Yeah. Now, do they stream? Do they stream at all? Do they?
Oh yeah. Oh, they have a worldwide app.
Okay, so 92.3.
No, 91.3. The Summit.
91.3. The Summit.
The Summit FM.
Okay, great.
And anyway, the music that they play, what they do is they come on. I don't know why they get it off, but what I wind up doing is, when I hear something that they do that I like, then I go to Spotify.
Okay, yeah.
And I will research that group or research that tune.
Yes.
And the Spotify subscription I have will give me 15 other songs that sound with the same kind of algorithms.
Yes.
So what I do a lot is create playlists, music playlists,
right,
using the Summit and Spotify to stuff. And so then when I'm driving around somewhere, I just hook my CD into the Bluetooth in the car, and I listen to music that I want to listen to.
There you go.
With no commercials.
That's why our music group that we had there for a while was good, because what we did, Frank and I were part of a music group that we would pose a question every month, and then we had like 10 members of this group. They would all answer that musical question, and then I would publish that information, and then we would compile all the songs that were suggested, and I really was able to get a nice selection of music from there. Unfortunately, I got a little bit busy, and I kind of had to give that up, and I've got some different interests now, like this vlog, and so I gave that up. But it was really fun while we did that.
I had a great time with it.
It was fun.
It brought back some memories, and just to be able to share the kind of stuff that I like to listen to. And I don't focus singly on any special style. If I hear a tune that I can tell it's done by good musicians, and in almost every case, if it's done by good musicians, and you can tell that, then I will, think it's worthy of listening to again. Yeah, we had a group that Frank and I were in it, Edwina Ogerchuk, Ken Titus. The biggest problem, though, is you can't tell anymore with all the engineering that they put into it. Yeah. You can't tell if it's really done by good musicians or just good engineers. Yeah, that's true. That's a big problem. Yeah. We had Frank, we had me, Ken Titus, Edwina, Dan Kennedy, Rob Melius and his wife. Yeah. Who else did we have? I had a good time doing that. Yeah, it was good. It was good because we enjoy listening to music, and we're subjected to things that maybe we hadn't heard before. Well, when I decide that I like a song because it's done well, then I try to put like a scenario in my head as to where that song would really do well. Yeah. Well, sometimes I'll hear a song, I'll say, you know what, that song would do really good at a biker bar. I do stuff like that all the time. Yeah. The Summit also has a listener where they call in. They'll bring 20 of us into the studio, and they'll play 2-minute excerpts of a song, and I'll tell you what it is. And then they'll ask you about it. Why do you like it? They'll give you rate it, and why do you rate it? Every time I hear that, I hear the 2-minute excerpt, and I think, where would that song be played? What kind of a scenario would that song? I think about that all the time. What kind of a scenario would that song be really good at in playing somewhere? Would it be a smoky bar? Would it be a bluesy place? Have you ever noticed that sometimes there's a song that you thought, okay, that's a decent song, mediocre song, but placed right in a movie,
it really fits.
Yeah.
It really fits in that movie. You know?
Yeah. He's watching movie.
Yeah.
A smoky blues bar.
Yeah.
A concert stage. And I wind up preferring listening kind of to music that really cooks along in a small bar about as big as the wheel here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's intimate. Whenever I was in the Navy, there was we would hit those bars along Atlantic, the Jersey Shore, and they were always like this.
Yeah.
The smaller places with some really, really good musicians.
What was the one? The Stone Pony?
The Stone Pony.
Stone Pony where Springsteen and all those guys played? Yep. In Asbury Park.
Southside Johnny and Bruce Springsteen got their start.
Yep. Yep.
And you know what? I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan at all.
Yeah, I am.
I only back then for a short period of time. I still like Southside Johnny.
Oh yeah, I do too.
But I'm not a real Springsteen fan hardly at all.
Yeah.
Southside Johnny a couple of years ago came to Youngstown, played in our open air pavilion. Oh man, was it good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're having a party. Mm-hmm. We're having a party.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's music. Music is a big part of that. Big hobby.
Yeah.
It's a big hobby.
Yeah, for me too.
And the other thing I guess I wind up doing, I do a heck of a lot of yard work.
Yeah.
I'm out there fiddling around and playing around out in the yard all the time.
So Frank, you told me it's just been a year now since you retired.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have you discovered about retirement? What do you know now that you didn't know before? How's that working for you?
Well, one thing I know is that, and I learned this when I went with my friend Jack to Colorado. People don't mind paying 28% tax in Colorado on the pot they buy out there.
I'm sure they don't.
They don't mind. They're gladly pay 28% tax on every stitch of it. And so that's one tax that I did learn that people don't mind paying.
Okay.
I learned that. And another thing that I learned is that I'm not a real... I like to go somewhere for maybe a week or a few days, and then come home.
Yeah.
And I'm really a routine kind of person. And whenever I'm out of my routine after 5 or 6 or 7 days, I'm anxious to get back to my routine.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are that way.
And one routine I have, and I've been doing it for 8 years, but it's the one ritual thing that keeps me going during this retirement completely, is I get up. I have a inherited nerve issue that my nerves don't sometimes connect with a few muscles in my body. Not all of them, a few. It's called myoptic dystrophy. It's not gotten any worse, but it was detected about 10 years ago, and they called it something else then. They've got new information on it, and they can't do anything about it, but 7 years ago I started going to a gym and working out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I still do that now.
Oh,
I
good.
do that 3 days a week. I still go and do that. First thing in the morning, I'm the first one there, and that's my routine.
3 days a week, you said?
3 days.
3 days a week.
3 days a week. For about an hour and 20 minutes.
Well, there's no doubt. And then, is it weightlifting? What are you doing there? Weightlifting or?
No, it's stretching, a little bit of yoga stretching to get warmed up, and then it's working out on isometric machines.
Okay. I know Leslie Klein has told me she does yoga. Leslie Klein, remember her?
Yeah.
She does yoga. I've been interested.
Well, there's only like 3 or 4 yogas, and it's designed to stretch the muscles.
Yeah, there are different types of yoga. Some for stretching, some for strength, some for flexibility. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Is the gym close by your home, or?
Well, it's kept it from getting worse.
I see.
What I have from getting worse.
I see.
And so, they tell me that's all I can do.
Okay.
And if I keep it up, I feel. And the way I look at it is probably I'm not going to feel like I'm bragging or anything, but I am proud of the fact that I'm probably only about the 10% of people who are 65 years old that actually go and work out.
Oh yeah. And people, and they know the benefits of working out. And there's a lot of different ways to work out: lift weights, walking, whatever works for you.
Where I go to too is only 4 minutes away. No traffic jams to get there.
There you go. That's important. That's important. So,
but I still think that that I'm glad to be here in this venue of seeing people that I used to know and live with. It's fun, and I finally learned that you don't have to come up here and get drunk to do it.
Although it helps.
What?
It helps.
Oh yeah, I could if I wanted to. My wife is a designated driver tonight, but I'm glad to be able to do that, and I'm glad that at this age I'm still here and I can see people, and it's kind of fun to be sitting in the wheel that place that I sat in 45 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's still called the same thing, even though the sign says the digital sign now says new wheel.
Yeah. Did you hear the explanation I gave?
Yeah.
Did you hear the explanation I gave for why there's a four-way stop out there at that intersection? No. As I recall, there was a light there when we were kids. There was a traffic light there. It got shot out so many times that they finally said, okay, we'll put up a four-way stop. And I'm almost sure that story is true.
Well, there's a stoplight that I have to go through, and I say this, we don't have traffic, and we don't. But there's a stoplight that I've had to go through we've lived in the same house for 26 years. And I have to go through this stoplight all the time to do almost everything.
Yeah.
And I told my colleagues a couple years ago, I says, don't be surprised if the morning news shows that somebody blew the light right off you'll know it was me.
Yeah. Well, we found out that works. If you do it enough times, they get tired of it.
But what I told him, I said, Bill, you just keep it a secret. You and me, we'll be the only ones who know, right?
Now, kids, don't go shooting out traffic lights. We're not condoning that in any way. But that's kind of what I believe happened. So
who else are you going to be in?
Oh, okay. Okay, from our class, I think. Let's see, who told me they would? Oh, Gail Imhoff told me she would come in and talk with us. And Jerry Masick is here, but I think he's too busy taking pictures. I don't think he's going to come in.
Mary Ann and Gary are coming.
Yeah, if they come, definitely we have to get Mary Ann in here. And Gary. I love them both. Steve Orr from the class of 73, I already talked to him. He said he would come in. And so I'm going to talk with Steve. I'll talk with anybody that I have time for and can get to come in here. And Frank, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I think it'll be fun, and we'll see how this works. See how many viewers we get. If I get a lot of viewers and YouTube starts paying me, maybe I'll invest in better equipment, and we'll go from there and see what happens.
One other thing too.
Yes.
I'll just say, go Tribe.
Go Tribe, absolutely. And how do you feel about the Browns? Are you actually going to watch the Browns this year?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You know what? When Modell pulled them out of Cleveland, and I actually discovered there was other things to do on Sunday afternoons. And when they came back, I tried to get into it, but they weren't so good, and they never did get good. But I'm not in the habit of watching football on Sunday afternoons anymore. I'm just not.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, if it's not entertaining, it's not worth watching.
No.
You're not out there playing, so it's not helping you any. So if they're not playing well, and if it's not entertaining, you got to go find something else to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's kind of like why I like baseball, because at least lately, or the last number of years, the way they've played, it's been entertaining.
Oh, absolutely.
They lose.
Absolutely.
A lot of times they lose. When they lose big, I go to bed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But there's something about the Indians in baseball anyway that I would sort of lean towards liking them, even if they suck.
You know?
You know?
My number 5 favorite movie is Major League.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I know you didn't ask, but the one that's right underneath of it is Caddyshack. Number 4 is Caddyshack.
My number 5 movie of all time was 200 Motels. Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa, the late Frank Zappa. Okay, I don't think I even liked that movie, but I had to think of something. So, okay, now I mentioned to you my one regret from high school was not being in the band. Do you have as we wind up here, do you have a regret? Something you wished you had done in high school that you didn't? Or is there anything that you can think of? Or am I the only one thinking about this stuff?
Well, off the top of my head, no.
Good.
Everything, even the things I got in trouble for, I'm glad I did them.
And you do them all over again?
I think so. I really do.
All right. Well, Frank, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
I've had fun doing
and
this.
we killed 35 minutes of our life and hopefully other people's lives.
There you go.
So we will talk to you out there. I'm going to go find another person and see if we can
somebody else.
See if we can have a good time.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
Just
Take care.
Step out.
Yep.